Hello friends. A Defense of Poetry by P.B.Shelley. This is our 13th class. Are you afraid of number 13? Are you suffering from or do you suffer from triskaidekaphobia? Triskaidekaphobia. Triskaidekaphobia. What is this? That is a fear for the number 13. Triskai means 3. Deka means 10. Phobia means fear. So 3 plus 10, 13. So this is the 13th lecture. Understand? Okay. So we have seen so far the impact or effect of poetry upon society, and the last point that we saw was love, that is sexual love, and less misunderstanding. Men became more amiable, and society became loving, charity. All those things we have seen already. Now today it is about again the attitude of reasoners, like attitude of reasoners and mechanics towards poetry. You remember now we started with 4 ages of poetry by Thomas Love Peacock, isn't it? The friend of Shelley himself. And according to him, he says these are useless. This pursuing poetry, etc. is useless. Imagination. Instead, intelligent people should use their reason for something better. So now coming back to that point, he says the people who support this reason, they say that the mechanics or applying reason for something useful, the exercise of reason for something more useful, utilitarianism. Utilitarianism is a theory put forward by Bentham, utilitarianism. So that is what we should do. Don't waste your time like this. Then he says, utility, ultimate pleasure. And Shelley says, what is pleasure? What is utility actually? When you try to define utility, it is ultimately this pleasure or good, isn't it? A pleasure or good that makes an intelligent being satisfied. If you are an intelligent being and if you are satisfied by pleasure or some good, then you can say that it is utility. Now comes the next point, what is pleasure? Pleasure, see, you can have two types you can see. One is durable, you see, pleasure. So utility, what is the meaning of utility? That is what we saw first. That is, utility is pleasure or good is equal to pleasure or good, by which an intelligent person gets satisfaction. That is utility. Then what is pleasure? That is the next thing. What is pleasure? Pleasure is, you have got 2 types. One is, see, durable. The other is transitory. Durable can be durable, universal, permanent, create something new. So that pleasure. The other is transitory or particular, say having possessions and so on. For example, if we say, and producing either, you can say is utility. Either durable or transitory pleasure, you can say is utility. Durable pleasure, you can say something that strengthens or purifies So that strengthens and purifies the affections, enlarges imagination, enlarges the circumference of your mind. For example, when you say no, you have the Ode to a Nightingale by John Keats. You see, my heart aches, the drowsy numbness pains my sense. My heart aches, and a drowsy numbness pains my sense. See, when you read that, for some unknown reason, you are transported to some other level of existence. And this gives you durable pleasure. Durable. And this is universal. Means anybody has got sensibility will be moved like this. Understand? So durable is whatever strengthens you, purifies your affections. For example, when you say, Ode to the west wind, says, if winter comes, oh wind, if winter comes, can spring be far behind? A hope. Before that he says, I fall upon the thorns of life, I bleed. Tragic pain that aches your inner hearts, but at the same time it gives you a pleasure. So that kind of pleasure. When you create something, you write a poem, then you have it, I read it, you have a pleasure. You have feeling of eureka, isn't it? That you have found out something new. So that is permanent. Or you see, the other way is that only if you have got imagination, you feel the sufferings of other people, empathize, it gives you pleasure. Transitory pleasure is particular now, individualistic you can say. See, for example, you have, your wants of animal nature. You fulfill your desires of animal nature. Or you have you get security in life. Security in life. That's the transitory pleasure. It is raining, you don't have an umbrella, but somebody gives you an umbrella, or you buy an umbrella. So then that is transitory pleasure. When there is no rain, there is no relevance. Again, see, suppose you get rid of some superstitions. It gives some pleasure to you. And mutual understanding for personal advantages. Selfish. That also gives you pleasure. Or amassing wealth. Or amassing gadgets. You want a car. So you buy and you are satisfied. But once you have it, the satisfaction is gone. Have you ever noticed that? Maybe you are thinking about, oh, I will build a house, 2-story house, 3-story, and once it is built, for you it's of no value. But that is not the case with the poem. If you write a poem, or write a song, just do it. Or give music to a film, like Shankar J. Kishan, Kalyanji Anandji, or Naushad Saab, such people, isn't it? Or sing a song, Pal Pal Dil Ke Paas, Kishore Kumar, and he's singing it, and it remains for a very long period of time. This is not like buying a TV or a car or building a house. So this is the difference between transitory pleasure and permanent pleasure. It adds spirit to your sense. What? Permanent pleasure adds spirit. That is. Or you can say like this. To take a word, to borrow a word from Mathew, transitory pleasure, it is Philistinism. Satisfying transitory pleasure is Philistinism. Philistines. And it is individualism. And it is fraught with the competition, cutthroat competition. As a result of this, what happens? Rich will become richer and poor will become poor. See? And it is, and as a result of this, it's anarchy and despotism. Anarchy and despotism. And the vessel of the state, as Shelley says, driven between Sheila and Charybdis. You know, two monsters. Very famous in literature. This way, that way, both are dangerous. The vessel of the state is drawn between Sheila and Charybdis. See that? Either way, this way if you go, if you lean this, then Sheila will catch hold of. And if you, the other way, it will be Charybdis. Isn't it? So, it is a kind of what we must say, unmitigated exercise of the calculating faculty. Quotation from Shelley. The effect of this running after riches, running after wealth, running after property, running after gadgets, running after possessing things, finally what happens? It has got the effect of it is an unmitigated exercise of a calculating faculty. Finally there is nothing. So this, you remember the story of what happens, a story by Tolstoy. There was a man who used to pray every day to God for wealth and riches. So one day God appeared and said, what do you want? He said, I want land. And God said, that's it. Devi or Devada said that. Okay, you do one thing. Tomorrow morning you start from one place. You know all the stories. I need not elaborate. And then the point where you reach the evening. So the point from where you started in the morning and where you reach in the evening, that area will be yours. The whole area. So what happened? This greedy man started running. Running and finally he fell down dead. So how much land? 6 feet. It is like this. When you run after riches, this will be the end. You will never be satisfied. But when you help a person, or you create something new, invent something, it lasts forever. That is the pleasure of poetry. That is the pleasure that gives poetry to you. That gives pleasure to you. Sorry. That is the pleasure that poetry gives to you. Sorry, if I have made any mistake, sorry. Understand? But the calculating faculty, the Philistine approach, Philistinism, individualism, selfishness, amassing everything for me. Then ultimately you will think, oh, these are all use. I have had many rich men. You can see, you take the history of, say, rich men, say, let's say what Bill Gates has done. He's one of the richest men in the world. What has he done? After reaching a particular place, the particular point, the plateau, you can say. And then he looks down and sees, oh, so many people are suffering. Okay, my earnings, I am going to spend for the poor people. That is sublime. But on the other hand, that is the pleasure that poetry gives to you. That feeling. And it is everlasting. You will be known also for that. I tell you, probably you know the story of Zacchaeus in the Bible. He was a collector of taxes. And then from the story we understand that he was a corrupt person. And he came into contact with the personality of Jesus Christ. He says, what does he say? He declared, I will give half of whatever I have to the poor. If I have taken anything illegally, the whole thing I am going to return. 4 times, fourfold, I am ready to return. That is sublime. That is the pleasure, that is the type of pleasure that poetry can give you. So what happens? More than the names of saints, great saints, you have the name of Zacchaeus wherever the Bible is preached. Do you understand? That's the point. So that is everlasting pleasure. Pleasure in its highest sense. Listen, it involves, sometimes when we say no, pleasure in its highest sense requires sacrifice. You may think, oh, sacrifice, why should I do it? Yes, it gives you eternal pleasure. Sometimes when you define pleasure, and it involves apparent paradoxes. For example, sorrow, terror, anguish, despair. When I say they are all approximation to the highest good, somebody will say, what foolish thing are you saying, sir? Suffering is approximation to highest good. The terrorists, are they doing good to you? Isn't it? Right? Sorrow, is it? Morning you get up and start weeping, is it? Despair, is it? That is the tragic pleasure. That is the catharsis, purifying. That is, and is Shelley to a Skylark says, no, our sweetest songs are those that tell of saddest thought. Your own life you can see, no? What is that you remember later in life? See that? You will see that. After 20 years, if you are alive, what you remember is your saddest thoughts. Your pleasure was you have forgotten. Understand? There is in it, in suffering there is pleasure. That is natural law. Suffering is like charge. When it is discharged, great pleasure. If there is only pleasure, you don't know what pleasure is. Understand? The intensity of pleasure increases when there is suffering. Therefore, when I say, or when Shelley says, the pleasure in its highest sense is suffering. Pleasure is in its highest sense is pain. Yesterday we had no grief, grief of love. Grief of love. But I gave you the example of Choti Si Baat. It's a silly example, but still you can think of such experiences. Understand? The longing for someone, that is pleasure. If that absence makes, that is Charles Lamb again, absence makes pleasure, absence makes the presence dearer, they say. Absence makes the presence dearer. When a person is conspicuously absent, what will happen? You will think about it. Suppose he is always with you, familiarity breeds contempt. You got the point. You can see, no? Suppose you are staying with your family all the time. Say, as children, remember, up to +2 or your post-graduation, you are always at home. Suppose you go in search of a job and you get a job in a faraway country, what will happen? Oh, the love your parents show you, the affection your brothers and sisters show you, etc. will be fourfold, increase fourfold. Understand? So absence makes presence dear. That's it. So that is suffering. Suffering. So you can see now, Hopkins in his poem, considered to be the first modern poem. At the end of it, Vermilion, opening his heart, surrendering to God. Listen, you remember that poem, John Hopkins' poem? See? So that is the pleasure of suffering. In pain there is pleasure, and that pleasure is lasting. See that? So these are approximation to highest good. What? Sorrow, terror, anguish, despair. Otherwise, as I have already said. Here again is it, I fall upon the thorns, I bleed. And then you see the poem ends like this. If winter comes, can spring be far behind? That is the pleasure of it. Winter should be there if you want to see this, if you want to enjoy spring. That is it. That is the pleasure that poetry can give you. Catharsis in tragic fiction depends on this principle. Tragic fiction, you see a similar person just like you suffering on the stage. And then afterwards, that charge is discharged. And you are purified, calm descends on it. And that is catharsis. That is catharsis. And then he says, therefore he says, there is a saying, it is better to go to a house of mourning than to go to a house of mirth. M-I-R-T-H. I am giving the spelling because if my pronunciation has blocked the understanding, that's bad enough. So that's why the mirth. M-I-R-T-H. So it's better to go to a house of mourning. And so it says, pleasure of pleasure itself. What is that? Everyday pleasure. It's like chicken biryani. Everybody likes chicken biryani, I don't know. Suppose you have everyday chicken biryani. That's no point. It's no pleasure. Isn't it? That is. Like that. So everyday pleasure, everything, you have got, suppose you have got everything in life. So what will you do? See that? Some people, they go to astrologists and palmists and so on to know their future. Once you know the future, what is life? It's no fun in it. No suspense. Life has pleasure because there is suspense. You don't know what is going to happen tomorrow when you go to bed today. And whether you will get up or not, you don't. And that is what gives you pleasure. See, this is the type of pleasure that poetry. Then he says, of course, there are examples of unalloyed pleasure. I agree. Not I am arguing this, or I am presenting before you these points given in Shelley's defense of poetry. For example, the delight of love and friendship. There is nothing. But even then there is pleasure, there is pain. How? The friendship may not last long. The love may not last long. You may be jilted. And that infidelity can come in. So that shade of pain is there. Understand? Even there. Or you have got, for example, you have got admiration for nature. Your ecstatic admiration for nature, like birds are there. But there also there is the pain. The beautiful nature that you see today may not be there tomorrow. Tsunami, earthquake. So, hidden in it, you have got some pain. If you feel it. Listen, then the joy of imitation. That is the faculty of imitation in human beings. And the way they express it, creating poetry. Creating poetry means drama, everything. That is, you can say it is unalloyed pleasure. Still there is hidden pain. Where? How the critics will receive it. You remember John Keats, how much he suffered in his life because attacked by critics. See that? So, whatever you do, there is a shade of pain in it. That's what gives it, that is what gives pleasure to you. See that? So, even if you class unalloyed pleasure, delight of love and friendship you can have, delight of the ecstasy of admiring nature you have got the joy of creating something, I think, still. And then this is true utility. This lasting pleasure, anything that produces lasting pleasure is true utility. So why do the reasoners and the mechanics despise poetry? So they want utility. And what is utility? They want pleasure. Pleasure, utility. Then what is true utility? That's the point. True utility is the utility that is given by the poets. Poetry. There you are. Listen. You have got great philosophers, Locke, Hume, Gibbon, Voltaire, Rousseau. And in his notes, Shelley says that Rousseau was not a poet, was not a philosopher, but he was a poet. Through and through, he was a poet. Top to bottom, he was a poet. Every inch, he was a poet. And all these great thinkers are there. Voltaire. What happened? See, suppose, had they never lived, what would have happened to this world? Nothing. Why? Maybe for some more time, people may remain in superstition. Maybe it might take, for some more time, people may talk nonsense. Or it may take some more time for prohibiting or passing orders against Inquisition in Spain. What of that? After some time it will be alright. But suppose, can you think of a world where you don't have Dandy, Homer, Shakespeare, Milton? Can you? Petrarch, Boccaccio? Can you think? This is Shelley asking, not myself. I also agree with Shelley. You cannot think. Bacon, friendship, redoubleth joys and cutteth grief in half. Such statements. Friendship redoubleth joys and cutteth grief in half. Very often we got studies for the life. And ruin this wild justice. This famous and this wisdom, pearls of wisdom, you can say, which is lasting forever. Suppose had they not lived, or were they not strutted, or as in born and lived here and made their contribution. Or if no Raphael, if no Michelangelo, what would have happened? If the Hebrew poetry was not translated, what would have happened? Terrible loss. If there were no revival of Greek learning, no monument of the ancient wisdom given to us, great sculptures of Michelangelo, in the intervention of these excitements, human mind would have become so dull. So history has proved that these excitements provided by these great authors, Boccaccio and so on, if all these works of art, sculptures, statues, translations of Hebrew poetry, Revival of Greek learning. Renaissance. Suppose, what would have happened? The world would have become an arid desert without the interventions of these excitements by these great poetic geniuses. So what provides utility? True utility. It is not your calculations, it is not your philistinism, it is not your individualism, it is not your amassing wealth, but it is your broadening, enlarging the circumference of your mind. By, suppose you have 100 BMW cars, I know only up to that. After that, I don't know. There are many other cars, but I have no idea. In my imagination, what I must say, most luxurious car of my general knowledge is BMW. Because people say that. Suppose I have 100 BMWs out of that. After some time it will be destroyed. But as Shakespeare says, nor marble nor the gilded monuments of princes shall outlive this my rhyme. There may be a mistake, one or two words may be missing here and there, but the point is this: nothing will outlive my verse. This will be everlasting. So anything you create, anything created which will last forever is true utility. In that case, poetry, the pressure provided to it, the interventions of excitement provided by great poetic talents or great writers like Homer, Dante, Virgil. Then you have the character of Enid. The perfection, human perfection. You want to see human perfection, you will find it in Enid. You want patriotism, get it in Hector. You want devotion to a single cause, perseverance, you will get it in Ulysses. Suppose you have got 100 BMW cars, or you can eat 50 chicken biryanis every day. End of the day you will die, that's another thing. What of that? It is not going to give you a true pleasure, true utility. So what gives true pleasure, true utility is poetry. Therefore, reasoners and mechanics, their argument that your intelligence should be used for better things, it is absolutely wrong. Understand? Eternal, something that should live forever. Eternal. See? Now when you look at these material possessions, what happens is that man, you can see, has enslaved elements, natural elements. Finally what happens? He remains a slave to that. He is trembling before it. Atom bomb. See the power within you. But humans are now trembling. Just as a cat trembles before the cat. A rat trembles before a cat. You have become powerful. But that power, it is like Frankenstein created. It is like creating a Frankenstein. So man, enslaved elements, he remains a slave to that. There is no pleasure at all, purely fear. But poetry, if you consider poetry as God, then your wealth, selfishness, it is mammon. So you cannot have both. Either you have to leave the mammon and follow, and then follow God. And following God, you get true pleasure. True pleasure gives true utility, use value. So, value you have use value and exchange value. Use value, it is for poetry. Exchange value, you can have, think of material objects. So poetry is God. If you consider poetry God, then your wealth and your calculating mind, your selfishness, etc., that is the devil or mammon, I can say. You cannot say devil is a bad person, because in the last class we saw now, Milton supported the devil. So we cannot say devil, please say the mammon. Wealth. So Shelley thus, it is a rebuttal. Shelley says it is not true. Rebuttal means a statement that is not true. So Shelley says that what you say is not true. You are standing for utility. Then what is utility? What utility is pleasure. Pleasure means transitory and permanent. Permanent pleasure can only be given by poets. Okay? And then said poetry is, if we consider poetry, and that's a very beautiful part of the argument. That is, had great philosophers not lived, nothing much will happen. Because probably for some more time, say 2 or 3 centuries more, people will be superstitious. They will be talking nonsense. But suppose the list of poets that he gives, if they had not been there, what would have happened to this world? It would remain an arid desert, no imagination, no beauty, no aesthetic sense, no sensibility. Buying and selling, buying and selling, buying and selling. As the world is too much with us, Wordsworth says, no? The world is too much with us. No time to stand and stare. So what will happen? You are buying and selling, and at the end you get tired and go to sleep. But what about this? It energizes you. It widens your imagination. It enlarges the circumference of your mind, poetry. It makes you a human being. It helps you to love your neighbor as yourself. It helps you to feel, it helps you to empathize with your fellow beings. So therefore, ultimately, the true utility and true pleasure can only be given by poetry, and thus the argument for the time being comes to an end. I hope you have followed me and you are enjoying my classes. And it's very nice that you send your remarks, your comments. If there are any negative points, then definitely I will attend to it and try to correct. I always say this is a joint adventure. Learning is a joint adventure. Because as it is said, having and resting, there is no point. But growing and becoming, that is the point. Having and resting, it is the philosophy of the lazy man. But growing and becoming, that is the attitude of people who have imagination, poetry again. The other man, it is mammon. That is having and rest. Oh, I have, so I rest. No more books, no more reading. That's what I am trying to tell you. See, I am giving you some help for your studies. If I go anywhere, if I go wrong anywhere, please point out, so that we together can correct. And that is a joint adventure. Okay? So thank you for listening. See you again with another dose without much delay, maybe tomorrow itself. And till then, bye. Enjoy your life.